What's up, everybody? Happy Lunar New Year to those of you who celebrate. Welcome back to This Week in Esports and Gaming, where I talk to you about all the business headlines in gaming, esports, and creator content. I'm your host, 𝗠𝗿𝗶, and let's dive right into it. For our first top 3 story, FaZe Clan partnered with Porsche. This is a pretty big partnership as both orgs will work together on content creation, consumer products, Web3 digital assets, and esports integrations. Porsche evidently replaced Nissan as FaZe's old auto partner, and Porsche has done quite a bit in gaming, but their main focus was racing games, and this is a pretty large step for them as this will encompass much more than sim racing. To be quite frank, I'm not sure how much this deal is for, but I imagine it's a lot since Porsche is the sponsor of all of FaZe's esports rosters, and FaZe doesn't do cheap partnerships. I'm going to assume at least high 7 figures or low 8 figures at the very bottom, and I think this is honestly a really good partnership for them just because I think the demographics of both Porsche, who wants to buy Porsche, and who are fans of FaZe Clan, they line up pretty well. That's at least what I think without a lot of data or research done, but this is just the kind of impression that I get from the brands, both of them combined. I think they line up pretty well. FaZe hasn't been doing too well best financially, so this is a really nice bump for them. They've recorded pretty large losses in 2022, and even their leadership team noted substantial doubt in the organization's survival if things don't get better. FaZe's stock price currently sits at less than $1 per share on the NASDAQ, and if the company closes, or if any company closes before the minimum $1 closing bid price for 30 consecutive days, the NASDAQ sends them a deficiency notice advising they have 180 calendar days to regain compliance. I'm not saying that will happen, but they are under $1 right now, and they started off at around over $10 at least for their peak, and I think they were at $20 at one point with their stocks or their share price. So regardless, we've seen BMW retract a little bit from esports, but along with other big brands in esports, so it's good to see Porsche diving deeper into it. Another huge round of layoffs this week. Riot Games, Google, Microsoft, Unity, Amazon, Nerd Street Gamers, 343 Industries, and more. It's really unfortunate, another solemn week here, but there's so many. I'm just going to list the numbers that I know from each company. Riot Games had 46 layoffs. Fox Media cut 130 employees, which is about 7% of their workforce. Google laid off 12,000, and this is evidently way beyond gaming, but Stadia also shut down recently. Microsoft laid off 10,000, with certain gaming portions of the company being impacted. Unity laid off 300 as to reduce redundancies in the company. 343 Industries were impacted by the Microsoft layoffs, though the number isn't confirmed. Amazon was also affected by the 18,000 person layoff at Amazon, or Amazon Games at least, and Nerd Street Gamers also cut their staff by 25% according to the Esports Advocate. So all around gaming and tech, we're seeing huge cuts and layoffs. To be entirely honest, I've seen many perspectives, whether it's the companies to blame or the Fed to blame, which made interest rates so low during the pandemic, which ultimately pushed companies to hire more and spur more growth. Now that the growth is settling, we're once again seeing the effects of hiring too many too quickly. I just hope everyone can land on their feet, and it seems that there's a good amount of job openings still available, which is pretty good. The European Parliament is going to take action against loot boxes, gaming addiction, and more. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'll try to summarize it as succinctly as possible. The report was led by MEP Adriana Maldonado Lopez and secured 577 votes for, 56 against, and 15 abstentions. The recommendations laid out in the report were bucketed into 4 categories: age ratings and information, consumer protection, monetization, and industry support. They cover things like how the PEGR or PEGI system is being implemented differently across different types of games, and they also want to change that, and also making more common labels for parents so that information can be more easily understood for kids. Also, additionally, making a mini standardized privacy preservation policy and identification verification system were also proposed. Monetization about protecting consumers from things like loot boxes, gold farming, as well as illegal betting were also proposed. To be honest, there were over 15 recommendations I saw in the Games Industry Biz article, so feel free to read them if you want to go more in depth. I think this is all pro-consumer in the gaming space, which is good, but ultimately my question is, how are we going to actually see this implementation work, and what will the actual effect be? We often see so many larger organizations trying to bring structure and new initiatives into gaming, but what will happen actually, and is it just something that they're just saying, or is it something that they're trying to do to actually change something? We'll have to keep our eyes peeled in the future, and to see if other regions or countries also take similar stances and actions. As far as partnerships go, LiveAd partnered with Trovo. As a result of the partnership, Trovo is now fully integrated into LiveAd's streamer monetization platform, and for reference, LiveAd focuses on helping streamers monetize their streams in non-intrusive video ads, banners, polls, and more. Moist Esports partnered with Opera GX. Opera GX users will be able to have Moist Esports backgrounds and access to a special calendar of the team's events. The Opera GX branding will also be available on Moist Esports jerseys. Riot Games partnered with 𝗠𝗿, Team Heretics, Rallycry, and Display for the 𝗠𝗿 and Team Heretics partnership. Riot Games have announced a co-streaming partnership with those two Spanish esports organizations to help them stream the LEC in Spanish for the 2023 winter split. For the Rallycry partnership, they will be responsible for broadcast operations and platform support for the newly revamped North American Challengers League until 2024. For the Display partnership, Riot Games will have a metal poster of League of Legends characters from Display, and they will be featured prominently throughout LEC broadcasts. This deal came via Sport5. Team Vitality partnered with 𝗠𝗿. 𝗠𝗿 will be implemented into Vitality's Twitch presence and help them improve visibility and monetization and management of its streamers. Blast Premier partnered with 𝗿𝗍 Esports. The 2-year deal will see live data from all Blast Premier events being made to the entire 𝗿𝗍 partnership network. This will also make data more accessible to teams and fans through historic data access, stats, and visualizations. For finance and M&A, the MENA esports platform GB Arena have acquired Tunisian company Galactech for $15 million. The deal will take place as a share swap to improve GB Arena's North Africa and MENA market share, and they will work together to host esports tournaments and opportunities in the MENA region more. Scenario raised $6 million. For reference, Scenario is making a generative AI engine that lets artists train their own custom art generator. The company aims to provide game devs with consistent styles of game art via AI, and the round was led by Play Ventures with participation from Anorak Ventures, VR Fund, and Founders Inc. Carry First have raised $27 million. The African mobile game publisher will use the funds to expand their business operations and game development. The round was led by Bigcraft Ventures with participation from Andreessen Horowitz, TTV Capital, Alumni Ventures, Lateral Capital, Keppel Ventures, and Convoy. The Tiny Digital Factory have raised $3.25 million. Sandsoft Games invested the $3.25 million into the mobile racing and motorsport game dev, and this means Sandsoft will publish all of TDF's games throughout the MENA region with a focus on localization and local marketing. Courtside Ventures have raised a $100 million sports, collectibles, wellness, and gaming fund. The venture fund is in a third early-stage venture capital fund from the company, and the limited partners include ownership groups of Atlanta Hawks, Golden State Warriors, the Philadelphia 76ers, and other sports teams. This brings their total committed capital to over $200 million. As far as workforce changes go, Matt O'Brien joins 100 Thieves as the Chief Revenue Officer. He comes from a long line of sports sales roles where he was the SVP of Notre Dame, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Rock Entertainment Group. He was an advisor for 100 Thieves before and takes over Maddie Lee's former Chief Revenue Officer position, and he holds a bachelor's in advertising from Drake University. 𝗿𝗿, Sabrina Ratti, and Philippe Adam have joined or been promoted at G2 Esports to CEO, COO, and CFO. 𝗿𝗿 takes over the former CEO Ocelot's job, and he was formerly the CEO of G2, and before that he did business development for Riot Games. Sabrina comes from Red Bull Media House, where she spent 7 years doing marketing for the company, so she's very experienced in that field. And Philippe joined G2 in June of 2022 and has now been officially announced in his role. He has tons of experience with Morgan Stanley, Oak Hill Capital Partners, and more. Shraga Moore joins Plarium as the CEO. He has over 20 years of experience in tech, digital, and e-commerce. He was most recently the director of global e-commerce with SodaStream, and he has a bachelor's in business from Rupin College. Joshua Yoguado and Sungwon Lee have been promoted to CEO and Executive Chairman at Jam City. Joshua was a co-founder and COO of Jam City for the past 13 years before his move up to CEO. He spent time doing corporate and business development at Fox, Univision, and more, and he holds an MBA from Harvard University. Sungwon is currently the CEO of Kabam and has been on the board of Jam City for the past 7 years. He was the co-CEO of Netmarble and the SVP of the game business unit at CJE&M before. He holds an MBA from INSEAD. Jasmine Chiang joins EA as the brand marketing manager for Apex Legends Esports. Jasmine most notably spent 3 years at Lenovo as a global marketing manager for esports and gaming. She spent 6 months as an influencer and partnerships manager at PDP recently, and she holds a bachelor's in business from Northeastern University. Philip Koskinas joins Amazon Games as the head of Anti-Cheat. He spent the last 9 years at Riot, with his most recent role being senior manager of the anti-cheat system Vanguard. If you have some time, I'd recommend reading his LinkedIn job descriptions. They're really funny and really great. And he holds a bachelor's in actuarial science from Georgia State University. Moritz Bayer-Lentz joins Lightspeed Venture Partners as a partner. He's done a lot in the gaming investing space, and he was most recently a partner at Bitcraft Ventures, and he's also a founding member of the World Economic Forum. He was also formerly the head of the gaming practice at Goldman Sachs, and he holds an MBA from Stanford University. Rupert Dorton joins Ninjas in Pajamas as the social media specialist. He was most recently the global esports social media manager at Betway and spent 2 years at the company as well. He has experience with Kairos Media doing social media as well, and he holds a bachelor's in graphic design from the University of Kent. As far as new stuff goes, Grant Johnson has sued his former employer Esports Entertainment Group. The suit was filed in the Southern District Court of New York, and Johnson is suing EEG for damages that equate to around $3 million. EEG terminated his contract in December, citing fraud, willful misconduct, and/or gross negligence, so it makes sense that he's suing back. and to have patented new tracking technology. This system determines the visibility, attention metrics, and other data relating to intrinsic advertising, such as how brands can be integrated into map locations in game. Seems like a smart patent as advertisers are diving deeper into games literally rather than just around them. That's it for this week in esports and gaming. Thank you so much for tuning in. Credit to the authors and brands themselves for the images and information provided. And shout out once again to James Fudge and Hongyu Chen for the Esports Advocate. I'd support them down below in the comments. And once again, everybody, if you know someone who find this valuable, please tag them and share this in your feed as well. And have a great day, everybody.